Please give it up for Ernie Hudson. Thank you for joining us.
Weird here, right?
Yeah, it is a bit odd. I mean, we don't have to sit if you don't want. We can stand.
We come to the front?
Yeah, absolutely.
Better.
I'm all down for that.
Assuming the table holds up, I'm not sure.
I'll tell you what, I won't put my weight on it. You can have some.
No, you're good, we're good.
Right.
You always use my head back there. Anyway, hey guys.
Welcome to Raleigh.
Yeah, thanks. I just got off the airplane and I'm still feel like my body's moving, but it's great to be here. I shot, we did a movie called Weeds back in the mid 80s with Nick Nolte and Joe Mantegna. We shot it around here in Raleigh in some of the jails and prisons and, you know. Yeah, so it's great to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us. Wanted to just start off with what eventually drove you to acting and your interest in that.
To acting,
Yeah.
I don't know, desperation.
Okay, that's valid.
You know, I had, when I got out of high school, I really realized I didn't prepare myself for anything. And I tried, you know, just getting a job. I thought, you know, life, you just get a job and you get married and, you know, you buy a house and you just live your life. I mean, it's not that hard until the jobs that you get are really, I was just really very bad at everything. I mean, really, I sucked at every job I ever had. And it was, so I was looking for something that I could do that I could at least feel good about, you know, and I discovered that. I fell into acting. I fell into it, but I discovered it. And that's what I've done pretty much all my adult life.
What was it like at the beginning? Because you were doing the shuffle, a lot of TV shows. You know, there's some of the early days. Baba Black Sheep. Any memories of that?
I just remember Robert Conrad would go around the set and he'd punch people in their stomachs.
I saw it with Rene Abdouin. He told me the same story.
Yeah, he did.
He did get a recurring thing.
Yeah, he would just walk up to the cast members and just punch them in the stomach, and they go, oh, Bob, you know, I'm like, what is that about? And I'm like, so I would look at him like, don't even think about it. You know, first off, at this point, I have no career to lose, so you will not be hitting me. Yeah, no, it was just very odd, and I was playing a South Pacific Islander. Peter Frampton was on the show.
Yeah.
And so we got in this boat and we were going to travel across to another island, this catamaran, and we had to, but Peter refused to row and he wouldn't carry the damn boat. And but it's all fun, you know. It's all it was back, you know.
No, back in the day.
It was all the journey.
Speaking of journey, real quick, Highcliffe Manor. Highcliff Manor, yeah. Tell us about that.
Highcliffe Manor, yeah. I've been working at, you know, well, first off, when I discovered acting in college, I went to Wayne State University. It got involved in theater. I had established a theater in Detroit. I was doing a lot of community theater. I got a scholarship to Yale. I went to Yale. I went to University of Minnesota for a while because I really wanted to build a foundation. But the first 10 years was all about, from 60s to the mid 70s, was really all about laying a foundation. Because I wanted to be able to do it until I was old, which I guess has happened. But anyway, so
you don't look it.
And then I went out to LA and it was just, you know, hitting and missing and trying to get in. And Highcliffe Manor was one of the shows that, one of the first series. It was the first series, I got married right out of high school. My wife was 16, I was 18. She had a mother who was mean to her, so I thought I'd marry her because somehow in my mind I was helping the situation. After I married, I realized why her mother was mean to her. It's like, you know. But so we had a couple kids, and then that marriage ended. So when I went to LA, I had my sons. And I was hustling, trying to, you know, doing little bit parts here and there. And then Highcliffe Manor came up. And when Highcliffe Manor It was the weirdest thing. It was one of the most learning experiences for me because if you don't know, I'm an African American actor.
What?
Because sometimes people get confused. You know, I'll say I was in Ghostbusters, and they'll say, "Oh, really? Which part did you play?" And I'd say, "I'm the black guy," and they go, "Oh yeah." So, but on this particular show, it was kind of weird. It was Peter McCaddy, Shelley Fabre, and she was kind of like the star. And I played Peter's sidekick, who was a South African witch doctor, a voodoo priest, who had somehow, they got together and they took a canoe across the Atlantic to America. It was one of those weird comedy.
It was a bizarre show.
Yeah.
The reason I asked about it is because people are rediscovering it, and it's being talked about again. So.
Yeah, it's the guys who the producers had a big show. I can't remember the name of it. Before anyway, but the reason I'm telling the story because all these things are lessons you learn. So I went in and auditioned, and I really was reading this, and he talked with a kind of a Jamaican accent, sa the buana and all that nonsense. But I really needed a job because I was a single dad, and I really, really needed this job. But when I would go in, and they were laughing, they really laughed a lot, but I always kind of had the feeling that they were kind of laughing at me more than whatever. But I got the job, and it was paying like $3,000 a week an episode, which at that time seemed like a lot of money because I wasn't making any money. So I get this job, and we start rehearsal, and my friends got together to give a little party to celebrate my getting this series. And when everybody's kind of partying, and we're having a good time, and then Cheryl Lee Ralph, who's an actress, I don't know if you guys know her, but Cheryl Lee was reading the script, and she says, "Oh my God!" And then the music stopped, and she said, "I know you're not going to do this." And so I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, what is this? The character's name, Bambo?" Which was the character's name. And he had gold teeth, and he said, "Buana, no sub buana," and all that stuff, which I guess I just was so determined to get the job, I didn't really take it personal. But then after she sort of made it, after she destroyed my party, I would go to work, and it was just hard to, it's like, I'm just, so finally I went to the producers, and I said, "You know what, I can't do this. I mean, yeah, I need the money and all that, but I'm not feeling this, and, the gold teeth and the Buana thing, and no, I can't, So, and I said, I know there are a lot of guys, I have friends who would love to do it, and you're not gonna have trouble casting it, but thank you, I appreciate it, and I'll see you later. So I quit the show, and I went home, and then the next day the producers called, and they said, "Well, we really want you for the show," and we thought about it, we took a look at the character, and so instead of his name being Bambo, I tell you what, okay, we really like the whole voodoo priest thing because that's funny, but how about this? He's a voodoo priest who went to England, and he graduated from Oxford. So so he's a graduate from college, and instead of his name being Bambo, we'll call him Smite. His name is Smite, and you don't have to do the gold teeth, and we'll dump the Buana stuff, and so they sort of cleaned it up and made it so that it turned out to be a lot of fun. But what I learned from it was that a lot of times when things feel personal and you feel there's no other option, that there's always a place where you make a choice, and that things a lot of times will work out in the most amazing ways if you just hold to your truth, your integrity. And so that's one of the things I look back on, and it was, it was very
stuck to your guns.
Yeah, I think sometimes you have to say no. There's some places that you don't want to go and you don't want to compromise, and you just, and I think you worry that if I don't do this, then all these things will happen. But a lot of times, in fact, in my experience, it's just the opposite. It's when you go against your feeling, your gut, that's when you lose yourself, and that's when I think life gets very difficult.
Very good, good. Let's go to the first thing that I personally noticed you in, Space Hunter, Adventures of the Forbidden Zone, in 3D.
In 3D, yeah, Space Hunter. Ivan Reitman, the producer of, there was a television show called Ryan's 4. Now, I've been out there in Hollywood, I'm struggling, I got my boys, we're hanging in, we're doing, I'm the single dad, and I got two amazing sons. But I needed a job. And then I got the script for the ABC was doing this television show about 4 doctors, a doctor, and I was in the running for one of the parts. So I went in and I just nailed it, and I just really did a great job, and I really wanted, because I could be a doctor on TV, and I just wanted so bad. And then I went back again, and it looked like it was going to happen. And then my agent said that they really loved me, but one of the producers, in fact, Henry Winkler, was one of the producers on it, and he wasn't convinced. He wanted the guy from, oh God, it was a big movie. He rowed the boat, and I don't know. Anyway, so he wanted someone else, bottom line. And so they wanted me to come back in. But in the meantime, I went in to read for this movie called Adventures in the Creep Zone. That I did, it was something silly, and I just didn't think, because I want to be the doctor, I gotta be the doctor. So they said, well, okay, they want me to come back in and let Henry see me do this reading. So I went back in, and as I'm going into the meeting, Henry is leaving the meeting. He didn't bother to wait. Now he's a friend of mine. He tells me, oh, Ernie, man, I always love your work. But at that time, he left the meeting, so I didn't get the job, and I was really bummed out about it. But my agent said, well, I'm so sorry, but you got this movie called Adventures in the Creep Zone, which I thought, it's on some planet, it's just weird, and I want to be a doctor. So this guy named John LaFleur, he's a Canadian. He had wrote the movie, produced the movie, directing the movie. It was his movie, his whole thing. And then we went up to Utah to shoot the film. We shot for a week with Peter Strauss, Molly Ringwald, and he got fired. I didn't know you could fire a guy who does all of that. I mean, they fired him, and they brought in Ivan Reitman to produce it, and Harold Ramis was one of the writers who redid the script. Yep. And Lamont Johnson came in to direct it, and we shot in Utah and went up to Vancouver before there was any production in Vancouver.
I'm about to say, yeah, you broke ground up there.
Yeah, it was all new. So, but it turned out to be an interesting piece. They did it in 3D. But problem with 3D is it
wasn't like 3D now.
No, it was not. No, this was 3D, man. And and on the night that we had the premiere in New York, we go. The projectionist had an argument with somebody, and so he locked the door and wouldn't let him come in. So at the premiere, he was showing the movie, but it was out of the focus, even for 3D. But you were thinking that it was the glasses, so you kept turning your head, but you couldn't see it. And it was so bad. It was so bad. So the after party, nobody would talk to me. I'd walk up to people, and they would just look down at the, it was like really, really bad. But it actually looks better on TV.
That's where HBO played the hell out of it.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know.
No, but it was a fun matinee film for its time. So that leads us up to the next big debate. How, since you already established with Ramis and Reitman, did that lead to Ghostbusters?
Well, no, because in Space Hunter, the character Washington is bigger than life. My head was shaved, and my voice was lower, and I was one of those kind of bigger than life people. So when they got ready to do Ghostbusters the next year, they thought I was all wrong for the character.
Really?
Yeah, they wouldn't see me. They said, no, Ernie's wrong, told my agent, and so I couldn't get a meeting. And I knew there was a part that they were going to go possibly African American. Then they decided to look at other people, so all my Hispanic friends were going in for this part, and a couple of Asian friends, but they refused to see me.
Wow.
And that went on for almost 4 months. And then finally, I got an audition, and, money was tight, so, but I got the script, and it was an amazing script, and so anyway, so I went in and it turned it around and got the movie. But it was hard to get, in fact, I saw Ivan Reitman on an elevator when I first heard of Ghostbusters at Cedar-Sinai Hospital. We're coming down, it was long trips down the elevator, and And I stepped on, he was there, and I hadn't seen him since Space Center.
Yeah.
So he says, hey, hi, hi. And we're riding down. He says, so what are you up to? I said, well, I'm doing this and that. And he says, yeah, well, I'm doing this movie with Billy and Danny. I don't know who Billy and Danny is, but So he says, but there's nothing in it for you. And I said, okay, well, good luck with that, And then I found out it was Ghostbusters, and there was a part, and so.
Was that in the early stages when it was the exterminators in space and that because they kick around a lot of early ideas?
Yeah, and I used to tell, except I won't go into that. In fact, I saw Ivan Reitman. We did a thing on live media recently, and he said he really liked me. I'm being a little facetious. No, but we actually so I'm not going to tell any horror stories from Ghostbusters. It was great. It was good.
But you got the call eventually.
I got the call to put on the uniform, to be one of the proud.
And they liked you so much they brought you back for the second one.
Yeah. Well, I was already there, so
yeah,
it's kind of and I was cheap, and we'll get Ernie,
Just want to talk real quick.
Reminds me when I was a kid. I just loved it kind of. So.
What was Congo like?
Yeah, Congo was. I've been working for a long time, and this movie Congo came up, and I read the book, and the guy was he wasn't African American, but he was British. No, he wasn't British. He was from Africa. He had an Indian mother and an English father, but he had this British accent. And so when I read the book, it was really kind of cool, I thought. But when they decided to do the movie, and I got the part, they decided to not do the British accent, but they wanted to do, I guess, an African-American accent, which I'm not sure what that is, but, hip stuff, cool stuff, which I also don't know what that is, but I'm asked to do it sometimes. I'm like, what does that mean? I have no idea. So, but I really want to do the accent, and they were a little bit leery, but luckily I kind of, even though I thought it was pretty good, but we went to the premiere in England, they sent a very proper British lady to pick me up, and they were very happy that I was there, and I said, yeah, I'm really excited about the premiere tonight. I'm anxious to see what people think of my British accent. And she says, oh, was that a British accent? So apparently it wasn't as impressive as I thought it was. But what I loved about Congo was all the years I've been feeling like I wasn't really cool enough or something enough. And the character in Congo was like, yeah, it was a fun character. I sort of came out in Congo, It's like, yeah, no. That's me.
You were the gentleman.
I'm cool. I'm the guy in charge. Yeah.
And one more thing, I wanted to get any thoughts or recollections you had about Oz.
Yeah, Oz. They're having a 20-year reunion or something coming up now. I think it's 20 years. Yeah, it was great. It was the most amazing cast I've ever worked with, and yeah, it was great. It was good. It was good to be a part of it, even though there was a lot of nudity, because it was in an all-male prison. So, not that I wanted to get nude, but everybody for the years put me in these suits, and I was in pretty good shape, So, but nobody
still
would
are.
ever. Well, no, I don't want to take my clothes off now, but.
That was not an invitation.
You don't want to see that, but when I'm like, well, wait a minute, nobody ever asked. So that was one where I, even though there was a lot of things going on in prison, so it was great to be the warden. I didn't have to deal with all
I was about to say, when you heard, oh, we want you for a prison series.
Yeah, no.
There was a shoot or drop, but this is the warden.
Even though Terry Kinney, he was the director of this one section of the prison, and I was the warden of the whole prison. And so every time we had a woman on the show, Terry Kinney had an affair with her. He had an affair with all the women on the show. And I'm like, well, why do I not get a woman? Come on, man. So, and I complained to the writer-director for all those years. He kept saying, yeah, well, so finally we had a woman on the show who happened to be Terry Kinney's ex-wife in the storyline. And so I was going to have this affair with her. So she came into the last season, she comes into my office, she sits on my lap, kisses me and says good luck, and then I walk out in the hallway and I die. So that was, anyway, but Oz was, it's fun. Everything, it's a wonderful business, and I think everything that I've been involved in, I mean, I have fond memories of course, and, but Oz was great.
Indeed. All right, let's on over to your questions. I'm going to put the microphone down here, and I went over the rules. So while I set that up real quick, tell me a little bit of if you recall anything from Bosom Buddies and your scene with Tom Hanks.
Yeah, working with Tom, and during those days, I think Bosom Buddies might have been after. It was after Ghostbusters. I did Ghostbusters, and it was a big movie, and everybody was playing the song and dancing, and I couldn't get a job. So it was kind of a weird reaction to the movie. So I started doing a lot of TV, which I hadn't done before. And one of the shows I did Taxi and Different Strokes and a whole bunch of other shows.
You were doing the TV shuffle at the time.
Yeah, I was doing a whole lot, but I couldn't get into film until I got the Weeds film 3 years later of shooting here. But Bosom Buddy was great. Tom Hanks was, it's all good. I mean,
right on.
Yeah.
All right, Blue Falcon, start us off. That's a great costume, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. My name is Trevor Talinko. It's a great honor to see you in person.
So what is a Blue Falcon? What is your power?
I am the cheesiest superhero ever invented.
He's basically a joke version of Batman.
So you make cheese?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So I was wondering, in the last scene of Ghostbusters, after you destroy the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, do you have any information as to why only Bill Murray was not covered in marshmallow?
Yeah, he didn't want it on him.
That's fair enough.
I mean, he didn't want it, and then we thought it was funny. I mean, that everybody else is just totally, and he walks out with nothing on. But the bottom line is they put all this stuff all over us, and in that it was like shaving cream, and it would dry into our skin, and Danny got a rash in her hair. I mean, that stuff was like really awful, and Bill was like, nah. So that's why. I mean, at the end of the day, it's what Bill wants. That's what,
Hey, Blue Falcon, eat this. There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
What do you do?
Ernie.
Throw treats at them if they come
Yeah,
up
if
with
I
a
got a
question?
good question, yeah, I got a treat. Yeah.
I'm Brian. I have no powers.
I didn't know if it was because he had the bird outfit on.
Well, I like the costume too.
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
I'm Brian. I have no powers. I'm a muggle. Forgive me. I'm not worthy. Do you, as an actor, approach remakes or reboots with hesitation, like us fans seem hesitant to receive those of some of our beloved shows and movies?
Oh, as an actor, do I decide to do them or not do them based on them being a...
Are you hesitant when some things from the past, like Ghostbusters, very, very cherished movie, and it turned around and got the remake, and everybody was already up in arms about it?
I wonder sometimes about the decisions to do. First up, I don't know why they made Ghostbusters as a reboot. No disrespect to Paul Feig or anybody else. That's just me. But honestly, I'm an actor, okay, and I love acting. But if the money's right, no, seriously. I mean, if they're paying me, I can work with it. You know what I mean? The actors say, no, I can't do that. No, you know what? Unless it's something that I really, like I said, for my moral whatever compass. But generally speaking, yeah. So if they're going to reboot, remake, they don't ask my opinion of it. But so it was great to be a part of, to be included in that. But I still don't know why they did it the way they did it. But I thought it was a fun film. It was a lot of fun. But.
Not to go down the rabbit hole, but
Yeah.
if they just said, hey, this is the Ghostbusters of San Diego, just made it in the same universe and just these characters set up their own Ghostbusters franchise. And
well, what about we clean up the universe and then 30 years later there's a rupture and now we have a ghost problem and the ladies answer the call.
Yeah.
And that would have been easy and we could have come in as ourselves as opposed to Bill Murray coming in weird.
Yeah.
I'm like, who is that guy?
Go ahead, boss.
Chris, thank you for coming. How did it affect you personally after the tragedy on the set of The Crow?
Rochelle Davis, who's a friend of mine who played the little girl in it, she really went through. I don't know, man. It's hard to deal with someone you feel very close to, I do a lot of work. I'm not close to everybody I work with. I may know people, but Brandon I met about 8 years before through Miguel Ferrar, who just passed away. He was on.
Broken Badges with you.
Yeah, but he was on CS, not one of those CSI, the Miami thing.
Yeah.
The LA, it's not CSI, but the other one, the Navy.
NCIS.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, but Miguel, I don't watch a lot of TV, but Miguel was on that, but we were doing a series in Canada, and I met Brandon, and he was a great guy, and so, yeah, it was just very hard to understand how that's possible. So it was kind of life-changing, because and it was sort of a wake-up call for a lot of reasons. Really unfortunate. One of the saddest things about that I've experienced, as an actor, that happened.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
I loved Broken Badges, by the way. Yeah.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, I'm Ryan. Who was the biggest prankster on the Ghostbusters movies?
I guess that because I was a single dad, I have a face that I can give my kids, and that they know to shut the hell up and back down. I don't say anything. This is the way I look at them. And I can do that with actors too. So I don't play pranks a lot. You know what I mean? I'm not sure what their relationship was, but the people don't do pranks on me. I just don't, probably the biggest reason why I'm not a big superstar is because I got kids and I got to go home, and I do the work, and I know that sounds a little down. Not that I was mean to anybody, I didn't like anybody, but I don't know. I know that people do stupid stuff, but I don't do that stuff because I don't understand putting glue in somebody's shoes or whatever the hell that's about, So, I just...
After Robert Conrad punched you in the gut, that was it.
He didn't punch me in the gut.
Oh, yeah.
No, he punched, that was. So I felt like you're really disappointed. I wish I could tell you more. I don't. Yeah, I just don't. I don't do practical jokes.
Yes, young lady.
Hi, I'm Angela, and I wanted to ask, as an actor, what role would you really like to play? You wanted to be the doctor, but what would you love to see as a role for you right now?
Well, I want to be James Bond.
Yeah.
I just want to have fun. And actually, I was doing 3 series at the same time a year ago. I was doing Grace and Frankie with Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin. I was doing Graves with Nick Nolte and Celia Ward, and I was doing APB for Fox. And APB didn't get picked up, and Grace and Frankie, I think me and Lily had broken up, and the other show, I'm not sure what's happening with that, but it was at a point when I just thought, you know what, I've been doing this for so long, and it's not what I signed up for. I'm so tired of being in other people's world, and I'm not part of the story. And I feel kind of when fans say, oh, I see you in that movie, and then they go and see it, and I was on Desperate Housewives, and I didn't get to sleep with anybody. And they were desperate, really. So, and I thought, so those series kind of went away, at least went on hold, and I'm doing this movie now called The Family Business, based on a series of books, and it's a great role. It's a fun role, and I'm the head of this family, but I want to work now. I want to do stuff that's fun to do, and that I can stand by, so I'm kind of doing it now, but I like different stuff. I like the Hand That Rocks the Cradle, and I like the Congo guy, and I like the Ghostbuster guy, and I like the Oz guy, and I think they're all sort of in different universes, but a little bit different. And that's the joy of it. But when I'm always the guy in a suit who's the boss and who's angry for no reason, it's depressing.
Hi, my name is Miriam. The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, that's my favorite movie of yours.
Oh, thank you.
How did you prepare for that movie?
Well, actually, I did because the studio didn't see me as someone who could be convincing, as not just a mentally disabled person, but someone who would allow himself to be intimidated by Rebecca De Mornay. I saw it really as an acting role, and that it has nothing to do with size because I'm a bigger person than whatever. But so I went to a lot of the homes that where people live, and just spent a lot of time just sort of finding that guy, and I love that character. And also a lot of because I was in very, very good shape, and this is going to sound weird, but a lot of times either the actors would be a little intimidated because I also have a voice. And so if the guy is supposed to be the guy who can beat the world, it's kind of odd when you're standing next to me and I'm not whatever. So that's always been sort of an issue. What I loved about The Hand That Rocks the Cradle was I could just do my work and I didn't think about anybody else's. I'm always having to balance with somebody and let them know it's okay. I'm not trying to steal the scene. But in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, I could just go to work and have fun. So I love that character. Thank you, though.
And the scene when she's staring you down and putting the fear of God into you. I mean, both you guys were on point in that. So
no, she's a wonderful actress. I'm surprised she didn't do more. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm sure it was a personal choice, but she's an amazing actress.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Janet. I was wondering, are we going to see a revival of King Triton on Once Upon a Time?
Well, I thought there was going to be. They said, well, we're going to bring the character back, and of course, a lot of times people promise you things when they. But I would love to. I'd love to do more. I like the show. I don't like it enough to watch it, but I do. I mean, but I love being on the show, and I love the idea of me being. Even though I got to tell you, it was confusing, because when they said, "We want you to be." What was his character?
King Triton.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I wasn't Triton. Triton's my son. Triton's my son. So who's the king of the sea is
Poseidon?
Poseidon, yeah. So I was King Poseidon. But I was confused. I thought it was King Triton. So they said, we want you to be, and the mermaid from the movie.
Ariel.
And I thought, wow, this is really kind of cool because I'm going to be Ariel's dad. And I wonder how they're going to do this thing. I mean, there's a little color thing happening, but, they'll work it out. And then when I got there, and I found like I was the king of the octopus, the evil octopus lady. And I'm like, well, why did that happen? So, but I guess it's, Triton is the son of Poseidon. And Triton is Ariel's father, and I'm the father to the evil octopus. Because she's pretty intense in the animated version. I'm like, that's my daughter? Jesus Christ. So, at any rate, I'm always somehow slightly disappointed when we get to the reality of some of these, when I'm doing them. I'm like, well, wait a minute, but I thought.
What's the dog's name?
His name's Legend.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Warren, and I'd like to welcome you to Oak City. Thanks for gracing the Supercon with your presence, obviously, Mr. Hudson.
Oh, thank you.
The last movie I saw you in, not necessarily because it's when it first came, was Congo. And while it was a very lopsided movie, I really liked your just straightforward, I'm cool as hell guy in this one. Can you tell me what it's like working with, on a set like that, on such a silly movie, even though you, Tim Curry, and Bruce Campbell, some really nice actors, are on that one, actually?
Yeah, no, I think sometimes you can take, it was a fun movie. So, you don't take yourself too serious. I think one of the things that hurt the movie was it was the creators of the Alien movies, and they had done some really serious, so people thought it was going to be more serious, but it was just kind of but people believed the gorilla actually talked, which I thought that was, people still will come up to me and go, how do they get that gorilla to talk? But it was just fun, and there was nothing more than, it wasn't that deep. But I liked the movie, and I still enjoy it. It didn't do anything for my career, but it was fun. It
was kind of the height of the Michael Crichton mania, when Jurassic Park hit, everybody was optioning his books.
But yeah, it was just fun, and so you play with it. You sort of get in it that way, and yeah, it's just a different approach, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
This is Alan, and he is
Alan.
obsessed with you. Winston Zeddmore is his favorite character of all time, so he wants to know. He's saying, can you ask him?
I love this town.
Oh, I love this town. I love this town. Very cool. Nice meeting you, Alan.
Hello, Ernie.
Hey.
Sorry for running a little late here, but I have one question to ask.
Okay, you get one.
I can't wait to ask you this. Has Clark Gable ever came to mind when you shot Congo?
No, actually, it was Ronald Coleman.
What?
If you guys, in movies, it was this character back in the, I don't know, 30s, 40s. His name was Ronald Coleman. He did, I'm sorry.
Look.
I'm tired. But anyway, he was one of my favorite actors, and Clark Gable was too cool. I couldn't get to Clark Gable.
I'm sorry. The late great film critic Roger Ebert was reminded of Clark Gable on your performance on Congo.
Oh, Congo. Okay.
And his partner Gene Siskel was just stunned. It's on YouTube if you're.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't. Well, it's always nice to hear.
Their old sneak previews at the movies?
Nope,
Okay, yeah.
nope, it's just Siskel and Ebert right here.
Okay, all right.
Oh, really?
You actually wanted to hear a little bit of it or no? Or?
Oh, no, we can all watch it at our own time.
I understand. You got.
Well, thank you, but it's always nice to know that people.
But I can see the Clark Gable analogy, but certainly. Thanks for sharing that with us. Hey, boss.
Hi, my name is Joe, and when I was young, I think I watched the movie Airheads about 10,000 times. And I was just wondering whether, when I watched that movie, it seems like the kind of movie that's just fun to make. Like you're just cutting up, having fun on the set. Do you remember what it was like to make Airheads? And also to a question, just in general, if not that movie, then what movie was the most fun to make in just a kind of cutting up comedy sort of way?
Well, I think they're all fun. I mean, I think if people are there was some really good actors on that, and when people are really good at what they do, they can kind of let go and enjoy it. When people are not good at what they do or not prepared, then they tend to be jerks, or they tend to want to blame everybody else for their bad performance. That when people are prepared and they're ready, they're on point. It's fun, and Airhead was fun, and great cast. It was really a great cast to work with. I was amazed that some of the people came out and just went on to have great careers, and it was a fun movie to make.
Cool, thank you.
Hey, Ernie, quick question.
You only get one.
Right, that's what I said, quick question. What's it like to work with two legends, Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, and Grace and Frankie?
Yeah, no, I think they're amazing. I mean, Jane and Lily, Martin Sheen, Sam Watson, all those guys are, I hate to say I was watching them when I was a kid, but certainly when I was starting out, and I just have so much, respect. When they first asked me, they said they were interested in me being Jane Fonda's sort of love interest, and I thought, well, okay, okay. Because I had Barbarella to kind of, I got a point of reference. I can, by the time we get ready to shoot, I'll get there.
You've been looking for the love scene, so there you go.
That's right, yeah. I want to be the leading man. So now that I'm old, I get, anyway. So then they called me, they said, no, we want you to be Lily Tomlin's love interest. Well, Lily, I didn't have a point of reference. I mean, I just saw Lily in that big rocking chair, but when I met her, I just love Lily. She's just a very down-to-earth and very kind, and I still think they were all a little old, but it's, no, I'm as old as they are, so there's a joke in case this gets seen by somebody. But I think as a guy, you don't think of yourself at that stage in life, It's, my father was 96, and he still thinks he's, any woman within 20 feet is like, hey, you want to hug? He'll be sitting like he's dead. I'm like, you all right? He's like not breathing. I'm like, you okay? And then a woman will walk by, and he'll go, so it's just, anyway, but it was fun. I love them. They're great.
Hi, my name is Allison. We're
Hi, Allison.
very excited that you're here. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you.
So my question, you filmed Ghostbusters, in a lot of it in New York City. And as we know, New York City locals can be very passionate about that. I wondered if either the cast or the crew had any awkward or funny stories with bystanders or taxi drivers, or like, like where the people on the sidelines didn't want to stay on the sidelines? Did anything crazy happen with New Yorkers?
Well, I remember
Of course, there it's normal, but.
Yeah, well, toward the end of the movie we were shooting, and Bill Murray got one of those dots, one of those, they're not lasers, are they lasers?
The laser pointers?
Yeah, the pointers, yeah, on his chest. And then it moved to his forehead, and they didn't know where it was coming from, so it kind of freaked everybody out.
Well, yeah.
So we got off the streets for a minute until they could kind of figure something. We came back out and came back on him again, so it that was a little bit odd. And but no, I think New Yorkers are great, and they're great. I mean, they would come and they'd stand and they'd watch, and but the learning experience for me, because I was the unknown, and Bill and Danny and Harold were really, especially Billy. And people just love Bill Murray. And I think I learned, but I'd love to watch how he dealt with his fans, because he's really, he's Bill, he's unique, but he genuinely connects in a way that people get.
A good rapport.
And people would just drive and see him and slam on their brakes in the middle of the street and jump out of their car with the door open and come over, and he was always very gracious about that. And I always thought that's how you learn from other people. And so it was an example of how because he would meet women, he would grope them. I mean, it was just, I'd get arrested for that, but
Not him.
But he was genuinely, I admired that. I'd love to see just the way he dealt with. Danny was a little, standoffish and cautious, and but Billy was great. So it was fun watching him in New York. It's his town.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 3 questions. Make them very quick because we are pressed for time.
Yes, sir. Hi, Mr. Hudson. I'm
Hi.
Mike Kell. I'm a big fan of yours.
Thank
I was just wondering, is there any advice that you'd want to give the next generation of actors that are trying to make it into the film industry?
Yeah, I'd say don't wait for somebody to figure out what you can do. Now with technology, get with some people who want to make movies. Not everybody wants to be an actor. Some people want to produce, and some people want to direct, and get with the group and make your own and show people what you can do. That wasn't possible when I started out. I kept waiting for someone to see that you can do this, and it always seems to happen somewhere else. So, get involved with your own career. Don't just wait for somebody else to define and say who you are and what you can do.
Yes, sir.
You can do it.
You can.